Hello everyone, good morning. So today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 28th of December 2021. So let us quickly look into the topics that we are going to understand today. So I have taken many articles that are important for the mains exam. Okay. So the first topic is a progressive step. Okay. So we will understand about this article. And then second topic that we are going to talk about is tightening grip. Third topic is why the Aadhaar voter ID link must be stopped. Okay. So these are the three articles that were there in the editorial page today. They are important for the mains examination. Then we have the fourth topic for the prelims exam, which says Kerala tops Niti Ayog health index again. Okay. So Niti Ayog releases the health index. And this year again Kerala has topped, and there are many states that have performed well. Then we are going to understand about a science and technology related topic that says the log4 vulnerability. Okay, so we will understand what is log4j vulnerability, and we will understand what are its implications and what are the steps that are taken to address this particular vulnerability. So it was there in text and context page. So with this, now let us see the first topic for the day. Okay, so this article says a progressive step. So we will understand like what this article is all about. Basically, you know that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, this act gives wide ranging power to the military personals. It gives a wide ranging power, and it gives impunity also. Means like they are immune from the jurisdiction related things. I mean, like they can take steps like even that can lead to the killing of civilians, but like they get immunity in those aspects. So recently like many people were killed in the state of Nagaland by the armed forces. And these armed forces personals were under the cover of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Okay, so there was protest in the state of Nagaland, and people have been protesting for removal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act from the northeastern states in India. Okay, so we will understand about the recent developments with respect to the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. In this article, we will understand about like in which states the AFSPA is in place, and from which states the AFSPA have been removed, and from which states it is a proposal that like AFSPA may be removed. Okay, so recently the Nagaland state government, has set up a high powered panel. Okay, it said that like they announced that they are going to set up a high powered panel, and it will look into the withdrawal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the state. Okay, so Nagaland government has announced that it is going to set up a high powered committee, and this committee will look into the aspect of withdrawal of Armed Forces Special Powers Act from this particular state. And so like this is a key concern. The Armed Forces Special Powers Act is a key concern in the northeastern states. Recently there was a massacre that was done by the armed forces personals in the Mon. Okay, like Mon is a place, is a village in Nagaland. Okay, and it led to 15 civilians killed this month itself. Okay, so this particular announcement was made by the state government itself. So there was no concurrence from the central government. Okay, the Ministry of Home Affairs did not say anything in this respect. Okay, so this has to be done. I mean, like once the state government takes takes a measure for removal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, then the Ministry of Home Affairs will also have to be taken in confidence. Okay, so Ministry of Home Affairs has not said anything in this respect. It was tight-lipped. Okay, so now the gesture that was made by the state government, this gesture also brings a positive signal to the villagers of Mon village that has seen, you know, the killing of 15 of its civilian personnel by the armed forces. Okay, so it gives a positive signal to the villagers who have mourned because of the loss of lives of its people. Okay, so now like this particular act, it is also known as an unpopular act, because like, you know, it gives immunity to the armed forces personals. Okay, so like, you know, so this particular immunity is also known as impunity. It simply means like, you know, armed forces personals, like, you know, they can conduct any kind of investigation without prior notice. They can barge into the private property. They can like, if a person is suspect, they can even, you know, like detain that person, or, you know, it may lead to the killing of the persons as well, in those places where the Armed Forces Special Powers Act is in place. Okay, so this is the thing. Now this particular act is in effect in many of the states in Northeast. Okay, so some of these states are Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, and 3 districts in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, these are the places where this particular act is in place. But at the same time, here we need to understand that, like, you know, during the tenure of the UPA led government, UPA means United Progressive Alliance, okay, means like, you know, Congress party. During their tenure, they had set up a committee. The name of the committee is Justice Jeevan Reddy Committee. Okay, this committee was formed, and this committee was formed in the year of 2005, and this committee has recommended the repeal of this particular act. Okay, this committee has recommended that this act must be repealed, means like this act must be withdrawn, but like still it has not been withdrawn. And this committee, Justice Jeevan Reddy Committee, has said that it is highly undesirable act. Okay, this committee has said that this act is a highly undesirable act. The panel can take recourse to studying processes. Okay, like there are 2 states in Northeast that have already withdrawn this particular I mean like Armed Forces Special Powers Act. One of the state is Tripura, and the second one is Meghalaya. Okay, Tripura has removed the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in May 2015 after noticing an improvement on the ground in the state, while Meghalaya did the same in April 2018. Okay, so Tripura did it in 2015, Meghalaya did it in the year of 2018. Okay, so from 2 states, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act have been removed. With this, let us understand some more, you know, concerns related to that. Okay, so it is important that, like, you know, it is important that you should learn about the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, the power that are given by this act to the armed forces personnel wherever this particular act is in place, and at the same time you should also understand the places where this particular act is in effect. You should also learn about, you know, some of the concerns, key concerns of the people who are, you know, who are protesting against this act and who want this act to be removed or to be repealed. Okay, so these are the key concerns, these are the key areas that you should understand with reference to this act. Now we will understand about another topic. This is tightening grip. Okay, it says China is hoping Hong Kong's financial status will not be affected by its political situation. Okay, so this is a topic that is important, you know, for the prelims also and for mains examination under international relations. Okay, in mains examination GS paper 2. Okay, GS paper 2 under international relations. So this particular article, you know, talks about one country, 2 systems. Okay, it talks about one country, 2 systems, and which are those countries? Okay, which of the country? They are talking about China and Hong Kong. Okay, China and okay, one country, 2 system. So China, like China has a, I mean like, you know, communist government. In China there is a government which is communist government. And if we talk about Hong Kong, this is a special area in China itself, but like this area, the economic system in this particular area is capitalist. Okay, this economic system here is capitalist in nature. Okay, so this is one China, two systems. In China we are talking about Hong Kong, like so they have two systems. In China we have communist government, socialist government, where most of the things are owned by the government. Okay, but in Hong Kong, okay, in Hong Kong what happens here, like the market structure is in place that is capitalist in nature, similar to the United States of America. Now we will understand what are the key concerns over here and why this article is in news. You might have heard many protests have taken place in Hong Kong recently. Okay, so we will understand some background related to Hong Kong. Okay, what has happened 24 years back and what is going to happen in the next 25 years to come. Okay, so like there was an agreement that was signed. Okay, that was signed for 50 years. It was signed in 1997. We will understand this thing. In July 1, 2022 will mark 25 years. Okay, July 1, 2022 will mark 25 years since Hong Kong's return to China. Okay, next year's anniversary is imbued with a special significance. It marks halfway point in Deng Xiaoping's 50-year guarantee made in 1997 that Hong Kong's precious capitalist system and the way of life shall remain unchanged for 50 years. Okay, so this is a person who has given 50 years guarantee in 1997, and he said that the capitalist system in Hong Kong will be in place for 50 years to come. Okay, so this is the thing, but what has happened, 24 years has already passed since then. Okay, much of the past 24 years Hong Kong defied wide expectations that one country two system model will crumble shortly after the handover. Okay, so now Hong Kong was handed over to China, and at that time it was agreed that capitalist system will be in place for 50 years in Hong Kong, but people were expecting that this one country two model system will collapse very soon. But 24 years has already passed and this system has has been able to flourish. I mean, Hong Kong is one of the flourishing market in China, and it is considered to be the market gateway for China. I mean, it is a market that opens the door for China. Okay, so on the contrary, it thrived as an unlikely democratic enclave within an authoritarian state and as Asia's financial center, which global firms eyed as a gateway to the China market. Okay, so it was able to flourish even for 24 years since the guarantee was made by this person, Deng Xiaoping. Okay, so recent developments however suggest that model is coming under unprecedented stress. Okay, so recently what has happened, see, Hong Kong comes under the authoritarian control. I mean, under the overall supervision or control of China. So recently some of the statues from the universities have been have been demolished. So what has happened, one of the well-known statues which was known as Pillar of Shame, okay, that was standing on the campus of Hong Kong University. Okay, since 1997 this particular Pillar of Shame, okay, was demolished. Okay, what is this pillar of shame? Basically, this was one of the pillar. Okay, this was erected by the people. Why? Because it was erected after a commemoration that year of the June 4, 1989 crackdown at Tiananmen Square. Okay, so in June 4, 1989 in Tiananmen Square, what has happened, the Chinese authorities have killed lot of people, huge number of people have been killed over there because people were protesting there. Okay, so after then people have commemorated this particular occasion and they have erected a pillar of shame, but this particular pillar has been destroyed now. Okay, not only this particular pillar but many other pillars have been destroyed. So recently a national security law has been passed in China. Okay, what that particular law says, okay, the new national security law passed by China last year has been cited as the reason for the actions. The law also led to Hong Kong's most well-known pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily ceasing publication. Okay, so after China has launched this particular law, it has led to, okay, it has led to many changes in Hong Kong, and one of the pro-democracy newspaper, it is known as Apple Daily. This particular newspaper has stopped publication. Okay, the law, along with radical overhaul of Hong Kong's electoral system earlier this year, undoubtedly marks the two biggest changes since the handover. Okay, now here the changes reflect Beijing's sense of strength and the perception that it is no longer bound by the commitments made 24 years ago. Now people in Hong Kong think, and they think like China has more power because it is a big country, and at the same time China can anytime overhaul this particular thing. I mean, like, overhaul this particular commitment that was made by China 24 years ago. Okay, it has made commitment that we will allow the capitalist system in Hong Kong to stay intact. Okay, 24 years has passed that like it was in place, but recently last year itself the China has passed national security law, and this security law has changed multiple scenarios, how the Hong Kong will be governed. Okay, many things has been changed. So now this one country, two systems may face difficulty to flourish. Okay, so people are concerned.
Taiwan also facing same problem.
Yeah, with Taiwan this is known as one China policy, but like Hong Kong and China, in Hong Kong and China it is one country, but like there are two systems, and the Taiwan and China, they are two different countries. But China says that that Taiwan is a part of China. Taiwan asserts that it is a free country, it is a sovereign country, it has all the rights similar to China. Okay, it does not want that it should be recognized as part of China. So this is the thing, this is the basic difference. Okay, so with this, now we will move to the next topic. Okay, we will understand this topic now. This topic says why the Aadhaar voter ID link must be stopped. Okay, here the author says why we should stop the Aadhaar voter ID link. Okay, so Aadhaar used to construct detector databases has resulted in exclusion and will help in profiling voter. Okay, recently the government of India has proposed, or the Election Commission of India has proposed that like Aadhaar and voter ID should be linked, but like this is being protested against, and people are raising their voices, people are raising their concerns that like Aadhaar and voter ID, right, voter ID and Aadhaar should not be linked together, because like Aadhaar has biometric data, it has many information related to a user. It may lead to profiling of voters. Profiling of voters means like the government will find it easy to profile voter, like which voter comes from which religion, which voter comes from which section of the society. So it will lead to profiling of voters, and it may lead to like many number of people, mass number of people to be excluded from the voting system.
Sir, stopping is it's not good, sir, but we have the software well infrastructure now, sir. Only just you can link the Aadhaar card, but you don't transfer the other data to ID link, sir. Is there one provision, sir, in software? It's only get linking only, but other data will not transfer to the voter card. It only matches the data, just number only they will carry. Is there possibility now, sir?
No, this is possibility that it can be linked, but once it is linked, the voter information will be linked with the Aadhaar. So using Aadhaar, you can get the information of the voter also.
But they have the access, close the access of all data, no, sir. They will give the access only to link the number only.
No, but like it is not that open, like it is not publicly available, like what method they are going to follow, you know.
Just like if you take any bank sector, sir, each and every stage have the some login, sir. Every login will not open by the single login. Like that we have the option, sir. But before stopping, is there chance, sir, that one?
No. It may be there, but like you know, the final authority, final control lies with the government. Anytime they want to get the data, they can get it once it is linked, right? So that's the thing. Now let us understand about this topic, okay? So this is the editorial topic. So we will understand about the outline of the editorial. It says the context, the case of two states, database integration and disenfranchisement. Okay. So here, what is the context? Recently, the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021 has been passed in haste. Means like it was passed with, you know, lesser debate in the parliament. Okay, so no debate or very less debate has happened on this, okay, in the winter session in the Lok Sabha, and which facilitates amendment to the Representation of Peoples Act. Okay, so it is a step towards implementing online based remote e-voting, for which the use of Aadhaar will be the primary identity. Okay, so this system says that, like you know, this particular law, the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021, this law will amend some of the provisions of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951, and at the same time it will lead to implementing online based remote e-voting. Okay, and here that's why they want to link Aadhaar with voter information. The linking of Aadhaar with one's voter ID was primarily to build a biometric dependent voting system from the very beginning. Okay, the author is saying that the government is making tall claim. Government is making claim that, like you know, so this will lead to fight the fraud and duplicates in the electoral rolls. Okay, they are saying like it will lead to like reduction of the duplicacy in the electoral roll. At the same time, in practice, in places where it was used, done by meshing of electors' photo identity card data with surveillance database, it facilitated a selective removal of voters from the list. Okay, what has happened? Like under this law, they are going to, link the voter ID, okay, or epic card with Aadhaar information throughout the country. But like this is not going to be the first practice of linking such data. This has already been done in two states in India, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, there are two states, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, where this practice has already been done in the year of 2014. And there, you know, a lot of things has happened. I mean, like, you know, voter profiling has happened, like, you know, caste based or religion information was also taken. And so minorities are facing, you know, problems related to it. Okay, because like, you know, it has led to huge number of people, okay, getting their, name deleted from the voter ID card. Okay, so from the voter information, you know, names of millions of people have been removed. As of now, as per the reports, more than 30 crore people's, okay, name has been removed from the voter cards. Okay, and Aadhaar data has been lost. Okay, more than 30 crore people's Aadhaar data has been lost. So there is a wide ranging concern related to it, like what is the primary purpose for which, you know, government is doing this. Okay, so we have seen this particular thing that, like in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, like voter profiling has happened. They have collected the caste based information, they have collected religion based information, they have collected biometric information from the people. Okay, so in the 2018 Telangana assembly elections, for instance, the consequence of such a measure led to the deletion of an estimated 2 million voters. Okay, what has happened in the Telangana assembly elections, more than 2 million voters information have been deleted. Okay, so this is a wide ranging concern related to it. Now we will understand about the case of two states. Okay, which are the states? One of the state is Telangana, second state is Andhra Pradesh. So in the year of 2014, the Election Commission of India conducted two pilot programs. Okay, it has conducted two pilot programs. Okay, in two districts. One of the district is Nizamabad, second district is Hyderabad. Using the claim of effectiveness in removing duplicate voters, the ECI called for a national consultation on Aadhaar and voter ID linking organized in Hyderabad in February 2015. Okay, so after conducting two pilot programs in two districts in Nizamabad and Hyderabad, the Election Commission of India has called for national consultation on Aadhaar and voter ID linking. Then the ECI launched the National Electoral Roll Purification and Authentication Program on April 1, 2015, which had to be implemented by August 31st, 2015. Okay, but later on the Supreme Court has intervened in it and it had ordered the removal. Okay, it has ordered that this particular program would be shut down, National Electoral Roll Purification and Authentication Program. But Telangana and Andhra Pradesh were the early adopters of this particular program since 2014. Okay, and by the time the Supreme Court of India has intervened in it, most of the people's Aadhaar and ID have already been linked. Okay, so by the time this particular Supreme Court of India intervened, by that time most of the linking process has already been done in these two states. Okay, so but many in the year of 2014, these states, Andhra Pradesh, the state of Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated. Telangana and Andhra Pradesh were made two separate states then. Okay, but they had only one chief electoral officer of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Why only one chief electoral officer? Because by that time the entire process was not completed. Okay, so that's why they had one chief electoral officer. So when we talk about database integration, okay, when we talk about database integration, database means Aadhaar database and voter ID database. When both of these are going to be integrated, what is going to happen? Okay, one of the thing is what methodology does the Election Commission of India or Unique Identification Authority of India follows to link these two databases is not known. Okay, so the method followed by ECI to find duplicate voters using Aadhaar is not known. Like what method they are using to find the duplicate voters. Second, in a letter number this particular thing. Okay, so a letter was from the CEO of Andhra Pradesh, okay, to the ECI. It is clear that the state residence data hub application of the government of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh was used to curate electoral rolls. Okay, in the case of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, they have used another database. That database was state resident data hub. Okay, this was used to purify the electoral roll, but this purification state has led to deletion or removal of names of genuine voters as well. Huge number of genuine voters list has been removed, okay, because of this process. And now this state resident data hub, this particular data is in private hands. Now it is with a private company now. Okay, it is not with the government. Okay, this state resident data hub has data on residents of the state which is supplied by the Unique Identification Authority of India. Okay, this particular data was supplied by the UID and it was collected further by the state governments. Okay, but like this particular database is now with a private entity. So that's why there are huge concerns related to it. Now if we talk about now when we talk about database integration, now there are reports that in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, very personal data of users have also been taken. Okay, user data like the what we say, the religion, caste based data and other very important sensitive personal information have been collected. Okay, and the government had named this particular thing as Know Your Resident or Know Your Resident Plus. Okay, Know Your Resident or Know Your Resident Plus. In Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, the state governments also conducted a state census where voter data, Aadhaar data and 360 profiling with details such as caste, religion, bank accounts and other sensitive personal information were also collected. Okay, so what has happened in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, they have done 360-degree profiling of the people, and under that 360 profiling they have integrated the voter and Aadhaar data. They have collected caste based information, religion based information, bank account information and many other sensitive information from the users. Okay, and they have named it as Samagra Kutumba Survey 2014. Samagra Kutumba Survey 2014, and it was also named as a Smart Pulse Survey 2016. Okay, so these names are important. Now here we need to understand that like unstart question was asked in the Rajya Sabha related to it, and that has led to disclosing of information that it is not just Telangana but across India. The Election Commission of India has already linked Aadhaar and voter IDs of close to 30 crore people. Okay, sorry, so they have already linked more than 30 crore people's voter and Aadhaar card information. Okay, so while the role and autonomy of the ECI itself is speculative, subjecting key electoral rolls to surveillance softwares damages the concept of universal adult suffrage. So the author is pointing out here that this particular linking process may lead to deletion of names of people from the voter ID, and so it will lead to disenfranchisement of the voters. Okay, so this is the thing. You should read this particular topic in detail again, and you will find many points that highlights why this linking process should be stopped. Okay, so this will help you to understand the critical viewpoints related to this. With this we will talk about another topic. It says Kerala tops Niti Ayog health index again. Okay, so Kerala has topped the health index released by Niti Ayog. Here we have an infographic. This data talks about the health scores. Okay, so Kerala, okay, if we talk about the state of Kerala, now it has scored 82.2. In the previous record it scored 81.6. okay, so Kerala has topped. Tamil Nadu is number 2, Telangana number 3, UP number 19, Bihar number 18 and Madhya Pradesh number 17. Okay, so this is the ranking of the different states in the Niti Ayog health index. So what exercise you should do? You should search in some search engines about the exact name of the Niti Ayog's health index. Okay, you should learn about how many indexes have been released so far and what was the ranking of different states, what methods they have used and what are the key inputs taken for releasing such information. What are the key ingredients of Niti Ayog's health index. Okay, this is some of the exercise that you can do to understand more about this particular topic. Okay, so it will help you to understand more on it. Okay, so this and the key inputs domain consists of proportion of shortfall in healthcare providers. So this is just a commentary on that, but like you should learn about the various dimensions of the health index, like what are the key components of the health index and for which states it is released. Are there any state for which like it is not released? Okay, so these are the things that like you should learn about it. Okay, so with this, now let us move to the next topic for the day. This topic is important under science and technology section. Okay, so we will talk about this. It is the log4j vulnerability. Now let us understand what is log4j vulnerability. Basically what has happened recently, the Apache Foundation, okay, there is a foundation which is known as Apache Foundation. So this Apache Foundation is like, you know, one of the biggest foundation for open source softwares. So this particular foundation has released you know, information recently that said that like, you know, the log4j had vulnerability in it that that may lead to the, you know, compromisation of the security architecture of different systems in the sense websites and other, you know, things that are there in the internet domain. Okay, so what is log4j? Basically log4j is a kind of logging system. Okay, like as a user you log in into, you know, some of the systems, but for logging into this into some of the systems, what you need, you know, certain interface, you know, to work for it. So log4j is one such interface that works in the Java, you know, JavaScript related things. Okay, here recently what has happened, it was, you know, log4j was like, you know, is widely used software logging library for Java softwares. Okay, those softwares that are built in Java, for them, you know, log4j is used for logging as a logging system. So, you know, it has some vulnerability, you know. So by exploiting this particular vulnerability, the makers of the log4j or you know, or other parties, interested parties may, you know, get access to the you know, dashboard information. They can get access to the internal information of a website or any other systems that are built using JavaScript. Okay, using Java. So this is the thing. Now what has been done, see, like here, you know, we have two concepts. One of the concept is 0-day vulnerability. 0-day vulnerability, what do we mean by 0-day vulnerability? It means a 0-day vulnerability refers to a security flaw which has not been publicly disclosed and for which a software patch or remediation technique is not available. Okay, means 0-day vulnerability means a kind of vulnerability that is publicly not known and there is no remedial measures also, you know, related to that vulnerability. So is it log4j a 0-day vulnerability? It was a 0-day vulnerability for a short time period because as of now it is known to the public at large. And second thing is, like, you know, just after the public disclosure, okay, just 9 minutes after the public disclosure, you know, like one of the system which is known as Cloudflare, okay, it is one of the, you know, leading companies in the world, okay, that holds the sizable proportion of internet traffic. Cloudflare has reported that just after the Apache Friends or Apache Foundation has released this particular information, just after 9 minutes, the people have tried to, you know, like utilize this vulnerability for their end. But like before that also, you know, 1 week ago, Cloudflare has reported that, like, you know, such vulnerability may have existed earlier, okay, may have been exploited 1 week before. So this is something we just need to understand about, like, what is log4j. This is a logging system that is used for all the software systems that are built using Java. Okay, so it has a security patch. That security patch has been addressed. Okay, so the Apache Foundation has released, released some of the key codes that will be able to, like secure this particular vulnerability, that will be able to, address this vulnerability. And this has been, taken care of by various companies also. Okay, various big companies, that are using.
Nothing but if you use this software for any locking of data, if you once lock, it will not able to open. If you forgot that password, that is there is no any remedies now, sir. Once again to open, they given zero day vulnerable section now, sir. If you disclose that one, that patch software, it does not have any remediation technique is not available, means if you once lock, it does not have any remedies now, sir, to open once again.
No, it's not like that. Let's consider there is a system, there is a software. Okay, there can be a mobile application, there can be a website. Okay, there is a software. So what has happened, as a user, right, as a user you use that system. As a system architect, people build this system using JavaScript or Java is a programming language. Okay, so people use the JavaScript to build systems, and you as a user logging into the system to get information that is important for you, right? But the logging system that is being used over there, right, it is a third party system. The third party system had a vulnerability that was not known to you as a user, and that was not known to people like who are building applications using that particular, logging system. Okay, so people who have made the log4j, they knew about this vulnerability, they could have exploited, okay, by logging into the system and getting the sensitive information from the software. All right, but like if it is not known publicly, okay, and for example, there is a vulnerability that is existing, but it is publicly not known, people don't know what is the vulnerability over there. This is one thing. Second thing is, like, since vulnerability is not known, so how do we address this vulnerability is also not known, right? Both the things are not known. So this is known as zero-day vulnerability. Means like till that time, people may have already accessed the system and all other thing. Okay, but if we have a security patch that can address this particular vulnerability, then it is not a zero-day vulnerability. Okay, so as soon as a vulnerability is detected, people should be ready to address that vulnerability. That's the thing. Okay.
If you use this software, it may have the chance to, third party will have the chance to take the data.
Right.
Data.
Yes.
Nothing but example, voter card ID.
Right. So that's the thing. Okay, like let's consider, you have given an example. Okay, so it is just a hypothetical example. Let's consider Aadhaar ID, right? Aadhaar number. So in case of Aadhaar number, the system architects, people who have built that system for the government, so they might have used, the log4j, for example, right? They don't know there is a vulnerability associated with it, and they as a system architect, they have all the information stored in their system. People are able to get their information, their Aadhaar information through that system. But people who have inserted that vulnerability, they may exploit it for getting those data, right? As soon as it is, as long as it is not known to public, it is known as zero-day vulnerability, because it is not known and we have not addressed this vulnerability also. As soon as it is known to people, then people will try to find out what we can do to address this particular thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay.
Know the problem, we can able to easily.
Yeah, right. So this is just a science and tech related topic. You just need to understand what is log4j. Right, this is the only thing. So it may be asked in the prelims. Log4j was recently in news. It was related to which of the following? So if you have read this article, you will be able to answer this thing.
Have the chance to, whether it is a secure software or non-secure software, they will ask like that.
Right. Software is secure, but vulnerability was there. It had to be addressed. That's the thing. Okay. There is a question which is prelims practice question. We will answer this question. It says, in the context of colonial India, Shah Nawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Sehgal and Gulbaksh Singh Dhillon are remembered as. Okay, there are 4 options. Okay, so the correct answer is officers of the Indian National Army. So the officers of the Indian National Army, these people were tried at the Red Fort. Okay, tried at the Red Fort means, like, you know, there was trial, court trial. Okay, INA, Indian National Army INA trial have happened in the Red Fort for these people for the first time. So they are related to the Indian National, they are officers of Indian National Army. So you can read about it, it is there, you know, in many history books, okay, modern history books. So this is the thing. Okay, thank you so much everyone for attending the session. I hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you.